What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of The Chi. This is season 7, episode 7, and the episode is titled Unfinished Business. Let's go ahead and get right into this review. So, y'all, it is Darnell's birthday, okay? We see that, he is so ready to celebrate his birthday. He's celebrating with Jada, and they're smoking together, and next thing you know, she gets a phone call because she has to have a doctor's appointment. You know what I mean? And y'all, we jump right into this doctor's appointment. I did not expect for them to start the episode off like this. Jada is in her appointment, and it seems that the cancer has returned, unfortunately. And of course, she's thinking, okay, I'm going to do some more rounds of chemo, some type of radiation, something that would give me my life back. And unfortunately, the doctor tells her that, at this point, I think you need to start getting your affairs in order and talk to your family, because this isn't, the type of cancer that you're going to be able to come back from. Y'all, I was not expecting that. Jada is a beloved character on this show. And honestly, I get it. We are seeing that the show is trying to get rid of as many characters that are kind of unnecessary or don't really have a lot of storyline going on. But I'm just starting to think, I'm like, okay, I understand that this is season 7. It is very clear that the Chi did not think that they were going to be brought back for a season 8. But here we are, they got renewed for another season, and I'm just like, well, baby, who's going to still be there? Like, who will still be around? But, it's going to be what it's going to be. So, moving on from there, we see Dom and Lene there together, and Jamal is not dead, y'all. I said, well, baby, we just learned that do not trust Alicia with a gun. Because number one, she ain't going to hit her target. She ain't even going to kill the person. Child, just know, the girl reckless. But besides that, he's gonna have to be in a coma just for a little bit longer until his vitals, they get up to a certain level. And Dom, she's just hoping that he pulls through, while Lene, on the other hand, she's like, well, what happens if he doesn't make it? You know what I mean? She's just trying to be more realistic to the situation, considering how he got shot and everything. And Dom, she says that she would look after Lene if he doesn't make it. But this is the part that threw me off. Lene, she says, I don't want that. I want my family. Girl, what family? What are you talking about? You don't have a mama, you don't have a daddy. The only family that you have is your brother. Because the last time I checked, when they were going to put your ass in foster care, I'm pretty sure they would have reached out to your family members, any family members that you have, to see if they want to take you in before you got to get into Nina's house. Okay? So what are we talking about here? What family? You don't have one. Dom basically is your family without Jamal. Also, y'all, the more that I look at Lene on this show, Lene is a beautiful young lady. But I've noticed that a lot of times her character is always giving like sass and like an attitude, and it really don't have to be all that. But I digress. Moving on, y'all, we see Jake and Reg talking. I said, Jake, why are you here? That man just took your girl. Why are you here? It doesn't make sense. So Jake is like, who would even try to kill you? And Reg, he thinks that it's shot. And I'm just like, what makes you think that? Because again, this man did not see who shot at him. So I'm like, wait, how would you think that is him? So then Jake is like, nah, I don't think it was him, but maybe it was Alicia. Then I realized Hannibal is there. I said, now why are you here? But I keep forgetting that they're trying to make it seem like Hannibal and Reg are friends. In what world would those two be friends? Because they wouldn't. But I digress. Hannibal, he's basically having to put 2 and 2 together, because he's telling Reg, like, listen, she's related to Sonny and Q, like she their sister or whatever. And my thing is, how does Jake know that Alicia would want to kill everybody would have passed. I'm just like, wait, how do you know that? Like, there's just certain things about this episode. When I tell you it did not make sense, it just didn't. Like, Red should have a bunch of enemies, considering he completely disappeared, right? And at this point, multiple people know that he's around. Any person could have been after Reg. How did we automatically know that it was between Sean and Alicia? Like, what? Anyways, it was weird to me that Hannibal said that Rob, he kind of ran the streets. And luckily, Jake was there to correct him. He's like, no, he didn't. That man, he just minded his business and smoked his weed. Which was true. Rob really wasn't into, like, all the street stuff like some of the other guys are. Like, what are we talking about? We're not about to rewrite history, okay? Y'all have done enough of that. So, Hannibal, he mentions how, Tiffany is pregnant. And I'm just like, why are you mentioning that? Because does that mean that, like, Reg is going to try to kill her? Because he knows that baby belongs to Rob. And if Alicia is the one who tried to kill him, that would be like his get back? What's happening here? And then Reg, he tells Jake, oh yeah, I want you to talk to the mob and tell them to protect me. And here's my thing. I said, you think that Jake, little scrawny self, can walk up to the mob and just be like, can you protect my brother? Like, what is happening with this show, y'all? Hell, I'm still trying to figure out, why is Jake at his brother's house? Well, at his apartment that he had to give to his brother. Make it make sense. Now we see Bakari. He's talking to Nuck. He's basically telling him about his meeting with a detective, right? And Nuck basically is like, listen, you shouldn't be talking to anybody. You need to be laying low. And you definitely shouldn't even be talking to Alicia, right? And Bakari, he feels like, Rob shouldn't have died. And we all feel like Rob shouldn't have died. Like, that was so stupid. And at this point, he's talking to Alicia to get it in her head that it possibly was Reg, basically to protect Nuck. But Nuck is like, listen, I don't need all that. All I need for you to do, Bakari, is lay low. Y'all, I'm just really trying to understand Bakari's role in this gang, because I don't understand it. Like, he's around. He don't sell dope. He don't make no money. He ain't working at the fucking chop shop. What does Bakari do? Like, I know that at one point he was running around with Doodah, but even then, what was Bakari doing? Because he ain't out here being a killer. I'm just trying to understand. And he ain't got no money. Well, honestly, nobody on the show getting money, but y'all know what I mean. Like, how is Bakari surviving in life? I don't understand. But whatever. Moving on, we see Emmett and Keisha. He trying to, have some extra fun in the bedroom, and she don't feel like doing it because, listen, she's tired. She been running around with all those kids all day, and she just don't got the energy. We slide back over to Jake. He's telling the mob what Reg said, right? Baby Nuck walks up, and he's like, listen, anything that you gotta tell the mob, that has to go through me. So you go ahead and tell your brother to let me know what he needs. Okay? Because I run things over here. And Jake ends up questioning Nuck to be like, you tried to kill my brother? And Nuck was like, nah. Because at the end of the day, if he would have actually tried to kill him, he wouldn't miss. Okay? So, moving on, we do see a couple of the guys. They're celebrating Darnell's birthday. Y'all, why is Keith here? Like, why is Keith here? You not really in the circle like that. Like, be so for real. Now, while we are there supposedly celebrating Darnell, we do see that Shad is in his head. Because at this point, he definitely feels some type of way about Alicia. And the way she was really reckless. In the way that, she tried to kill Reg. When actually he ended up, hitting Jamal instead. So they kind of talk about Jamal a little bit, and Victor says that, he tried to go see him in the hospital, but they were only allowing family to be visitors or whatever. So basically now they have this conversation about protecting each other and protecting the streets. But here's the thing. According to Victor, the whole community thing, it was working. But once he transitioned into working for office, things completely changed, right? And Keith, he's over here trying to get all types of involved. Yeah, we can protect the community. And baby, I'm with Darnell. Darnell's like, listen, you need to sit this one out because you just got out of jail. Like, chill out over there. So now they do this whole brotherhood prayer. I was like, okay, that's the first. I ain't never seen these Negroes pray together, but okay. So we jump on over to Papa. He's scrolling on social media, and we see a photo of the pastor and his girlfriend, I'm about to call her Rachel. Her name is Sarah. So we see them in a photo, and next thing you know, Master Marshawn pops up. I said, I know they didn't bring this character back. Like, I didn't like him then. I'm not going to like him now. So he's over here throwing digs at the pastor and basically saying at the church they need to go ahead and leave because how dare he be with a white woman. Again, y'all, I just feel like this storyline is so tired and played, but I guess. I thought that Papa was going to be second guessing his involvement in the church because we never got to see the resolution of if he took that money or not. But it's given that he took the money. I would have liked to see what Papa's mother did. Like, did she actually take the money from Papa? Did she just say, forget it, we go close the doors of the church? What happened with that storyline? But I digress. Moving on, Emmett, he's over here trying to have a little baby moon, instead of a honeymoon. And here's the thing. He got them a hotel room, and I'm just kind of like, what else did Emmett and Keisha got going on, y'all, besides having a bunch of kids? Like, when I think of the grand scheme of Keisha and Emmett's characters, like, it is so pitiful. Like, the way, Emmett went about getting Smokies was terrible. Now that he owns Smokies, 1 minute they in the red, the next minute they good financially. And I get it, it fluctuates, but we never ever really got a hold of like what is happening in that business. Like, is he actually paying his employees a fair wage? At the same time, whatever happens to the New York location, like, were they just using that as a way to funnel money in? Like, it's not making sense. It's not making sense, but I'm gonna let it go. Moving on from there, we see Tiff. Y'all, I was pissed off at this scene. Why does she have Nuck and Victor? They are both here helping her build this nursery stuff. I'm just so annoyed when it comes to this storyline because I'm just like, yeah, I know the shot may work for Alicia, but you could have had him come up here and do this. What are we doing? And you gonna have both these Negroes at the house at the same time? Why would you do that, girl? And then what made me even more pissed off was Victor saying that he read some baby books so that way he can speak her language. Negro, she speaks English. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, please make that make sense. I'm just so over this storyline, y'all. I really am. And honestly, I was with Nuck. This ain't your baby. And then for Victor to be like, well, it takes a village to raise a child. But you only want to be her village if you can get with her. Like, and that's for Nuck as well. The only reason why y'all are trying to be nice to this woman is because you think that you can slide in and you can date her. Like, come on now. That's whack. This lame. I'm over this. Because you sit over here, Victor, saying how you could be a village. How about you gonna be a village for your boy Emmett? Emmett got 15, 20 kids, okay? Go babysit those kids over there. And go be his village. I'm pretty sure that Keisha needs the help. Oh, right. You're not about to go do that because there's no way that Keisha is going to leave Emmett for you. Child, bye. So Alicia, she ends up coming in and she peeps that Nuck and Victor are there. I'm surprised that she didn't say anything. And why did Victor go over there to give Tiff a hug? It was very unnecessary. Just moving on. Hannibal, he comes to see Damien about his money. And now Damien, he's like, well, I don't have the money because I lost it. But Hannibal's like, nah, you owe me 3 racks. So he only got a few days. And Keith ends up coming up to Damien. He's like, dude, how are you still gambling? Like, you should know better at this point. But he ends up telling Damien, like, listen, just borrow the money from the stash at Smokey's. And then go ahead and put the money back before your brother notice. And he also tells him that he needs to get some help. Now, that is very true. Damien's character definitely needs some help. But I just feel like he's going to have to hit rock bottom for him to actually try to get the help, okay? Now, we see Papa and Charles. They are trying to convince Pastor Zeke that he don't need to be with his white girlfriend, okay? Or at least not in public. They show him the video of Master Marshawn. And, again, another scene I don't care about. Emmett and Keisha, they're at this hotel. The phone ends up ringing, and she said, hey, Dolly. I said, wait, ain't Dolly one of Emmett baby mamas? Or am I tripping? Is that one of his baby mamas? Or was that Tiff mama name? Y'all, who watching the kids? I'm a little confused. But nonetheless, Keisha, she's asking all these questions, right? And Emmett is trying to rush her off the phone. And basically he tells her that, the only thing that she's thinking about or worried about is the kids. And she doesn't prioritize them. Okay, so then we get into this whole, I do everything because I'm the mom around here. I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to take care of the boys. And here's my thing. The only reason why we are having this conversation is because Emmett wants to have sex. That's the only reason why. Like, he then told her at one point that she needs to start acting like a wife. She's not your wife, sir. Did you forget that? Like, she tells him that she needs more help around the house, right? I feel like she tells him this every episode. And then she ends up suggesting that they get a nanny. Yeah, that may be the better option. Now, we slide her over to Tiff and Alicia. And Alicia, she's pissed off because Nuck was in her house. This is understandable. Now, Tiff doesn't understand why Alicia don't like him. And Alicia says that, he took her glory when it came to killing Duda. And Tiff says that, that's probably because you was running your mouth too much instead of pulling the trigger. Very true. I feel like that moment definitely happened. And Alicia basically tells her to watch herself. She's like, listen, if you gonna want some male attention, I don't mind it being from Victor, but you need to go ahead and leave Nuck alone. Tiff is saying that Rob, that's the love of her life and she don't see herself with anybody else. But Alicia's like, girl, that's what you're saying right now. Especially considering how young Tiff is, girl, you're going to move on. And that's fine. But also I need for you to stop playing in both of these men's faces. Now, we have this conversation happen between Jake and Bakari, y'all. And Jake questions if Bakari sent somebody to kill Reg. And Bakari is like, listen, all I know is that I'm looking out for my brother. And, of course, what's his name? Jake is like, yo, brother, Nuck ain't your brother? And I said, well, listen, maybe he's more of a brother than anybody else has been towards Bakari, because we all know that Bakari ain't got no family, okay? Now, Bakari does come up with the bright idea, like, listen, maybe we don't need to be cool anymore because our brothers, they don't get along. Reg don't like Nuck, and Nuck for sure don't like Reg, right? And here's my thing when it comes to this storyline. Y'all ain't been friends in a while. Honestly, y'all have not been friends since Bakari, he decided to be at home and open his door up to his boy Jake And Jake surprised him by having Reg with him. Like, that was whack, that was lame, and baby, they ain't been friends since then, if we want to be honest. So, let's go ahead and move on. So, we do see Darnell's party. It's at, like, a skating rink. Y'all, Emmett is the DJ. And I'm like, wait a second. Why did we never give him the storyline that he was a DJ? I think that would have been a better fit than him being this owner of Smokies. Like, I don't know. I just feel like when we think of, like, the grand scheme of Keisha and Emmett, like I've been saying, both of those characters could have done better. Both of them. But that's never what we got. Especially when it comes to Keisha. Y'all, Keisha should have never had Ronnie. I get it, what they was trying to do. But let's be honest. She should have gone ahead and let that baby be put up for adoption. She should have went back to school. She should have, really started her career. Because what is Keisha doing right now? Like, what is she even doing for money? Like, at one point, y'all know she used to work at, like, the little school. Was it, like, a little preschool or something for kids? She don't even do that no more. Like, I just hate that all of the potential was wasted. But let's go ahead and move on. Now, basically, we do see a conversation happen between Emmett and his dad. Darnell is super excited about the party, and the only thing that he is worried about is how he is with Jada. He's happy with Jada, and at the end of the day, he never wants to let her go. I said, okay, well, here's some foreshadowing. So we slide on over to Dom and Lene, right? They're in the kitchen, and Lene ends up asking Dom, what made her really start cooking. And she's like, I just watched a lot of Food Network growing up. And then my grandmother told me that the way to a man's heart was through food. So I've been cooking since then. And I especially was cooking when I was younger, so that way all of my crushes, they would like come by the house to try to get some food, right? I was like, okay, cool. At least we gave her a little background story, right? And Lene says to her, wow, it must be nice to feel wanted. And Dom, she then says, yeah, but I would rather be seen. Y'all, when I tell you I was kind of pissed off at this situation, because I'm like, wait, we could have went deeper on what Lene is talking about. Because for me, she is the young person in this situation, okay? I'm just like, can we check the status of what her self-esteem is like right now? Because for her to say, she wants to be seen, she wants to be noticed, it's giving that while she's in college right now, she's not getting any male attention. And the last person who she really talked to was Bakari. So I just feel like we could have did a little check-in with her to see what's going on while she's at college. But no, this then became all about Dom, right? Because Dom is men, they only see a body when it comes to her, but they don't really know the real her. But Jamal, he knew the real her. And I'm just like, okay, that's cute that Jamal was the only one to see that in you. But I just feel like we could have leaned more into what Lene was talking about. I'm just saying. But we're going to go ahead and move on. Y'all, this scene right here pissed me off. I'm going to be honest. Because when I say, here we go throwing these random characters together, why do we have Dante, Candace, which is played by the gorgeous Reagan Gomez Preston, why do we have these two meeting up with Reg? In what world? Dante don't know Reg. You're not about to convince me that he ever did. Make it make sense. So, Dante, he wants Candace to go downstairs and go pick up some shrooms, right? And she's like, no, I don't want to go downstairs. I'm not about to go downstairs. And he don't want to leave her with Reg because I feel like at this point he already know what type of guy Reg is. And she's like, nah, I don't want to go downstairs. Basically, she's really upset with him because he slept with her stepsister. Okay? I said, Dante, I don't understand y'all relationship, but to each their own. So Dante does end up getting up to go get the mushrooms, right? And then we see Reg trying to push up on her. And, she's like, I'm free to do whatever I want to do. And y'all, I don't like this situation at all. Because first of all, Reg is too broke to be in every lady face. And on top of that, why can't he ever get his own girl? Why is it every woman that you come in contact with is somebody else's girl that you're trying to take? That's lame. Moving on, back at the party, Keisha, she does end up going over to the booth, and she tells Emmett that she just doesn't feel like herself. She always feels tired. But she does end up telling Emmett that she wants to go back to the hotel after the party. Alright, now moving on from there, I forgot to mention earlier that Damien, he did end up stealing the money from Smokey's so that way he could pay Hannibal back, right? So that's what he does. He goes to see Hannibal, gives him his money, and y'all, who was there? Reg. I'm like, oh God, not you. So Hannibal, he tells him, like, listen, like, you need to stop doing all that betting. And Reg, he's kind of intrigued. He's like, what kind of betting are you doing? And Damien, he's like, I do all these, like, sports apps. And now he ends up looking at Damien's nails while Damien is, like, sending him the text with all the apps that he used. And he had to ask him, oh, is you gay? And I'm just like, why do you keep obsessing over that? And Damien's like, no, I'm eclectic. Now, y'all, I don't want Damien getting involved in anything Reg has going on. Like, nothing. Because I feel like he may be a casualty as well, okay? Something may happen to him just because he's around Reg. We don't need that. Moving on, y'all, we have Bakari. He tries to go see Jamal, and he even has flowers in his hands, right? Now, he does see Lene, because she comes out the room, and he tells her that he regrets not choosing her, and she ends up telling him that they don't even know if Jamal is going to make it at this point. And, she's not doing well. So his first response was, you want me to come stay with you? I said, now, sir, scoot back a little bit, because this ain't your girl no more. And she tells him, like, no, I'm good. You don't need to do all of that. And when he tells her that he loves her, she ends up telling him, like, no, I gotta go, and walks away. I was like, oh, poor Lene. But honestly, I kind of wish that we could have poured more into these two characters when it comes down to their relationship, because this would technically be her first breakup, his first breakup, and we did not get to see what that aftermath actually looked like. Like, we couldn't see no shot of her seeing him around campus, since now he goes to her college. You know what I'm saying? We could have did something, but whatever. Moving on from there, we see Alicia, and she's talking to that judge again. Her homegirl. And y'all, I'm so over Alicia at this point. Like, she swears that she's trying to clean up the streets, and now she wants the judge to put Reg behind bars. I'm like, girl, so because you missed your aim, you missed your target, now you want the boy behind bars and you don't even know if he killed your son? Okay, girl. Now, after that, we do see that Jake tells his brother that if he wants to have the mob support him, he gonna have to go talk to Nuck by himself, okay? And this is where things get very weird for me in the show. Well, things been weird, but you have Reg asking, if it was probably Shad or Alicia that, like, shot at him, right? And Jake is like, leave Shad out of this. Like, that is not even how Shad roll. So Reg is like, no, you need to stop acting like a bitch and all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, what is happening? Like, I know that Reg's character has always been a hothead. Of course, that's just who he was. But I'm not understanding how he's operating now. And there has been no growth, no change, no nothing. And it's been like 4 or 5 years. Like, can we please make some sense out of that? I don't understand the logic. Like, you have Jake, who is younger than Reg, trying to tell him that he needs to lay low. But no, he's still going on and on. And even Jake has to remind him, like, dude, Duda had you hiding, okay? You were in hiding for years, okay? So don't try to act like you really that hard. And then he also has to tell him, and please know that you're not even the one who took him out. You're not the person who killed Duda. Like, please sit down. So now, Reg, he wants Nuck and Alicia dead. Y'all, I get it. I get what the show is trying to do. But at the same time, how does he know that it was Alicia? There has been no indicator that it was Alicia who shot him. He did not check license plates to confirm that that was her. He did not do anything that confirmed that it was Alicia. So how did we automatically get there that it was her? I'm just trying to understand how this show is working, because now we've automatically thought that he's the one who killed Rob. Now we're automatically thinking that Alicia is the one that wanted to take him out. Like, make it make sense. Like, this man should have all types of enemies. Be so for real. But nonetheless, Jake basically tells him that he needs to go ahead and stay in the house. And all I want Jake to do is get away from his brother. Okay? Please. So we see Darnell. He gives this speech at his party, and you can literally see it on Jada's face that this may be the last time that she really gets to party with Darnell in this way. And I just felt so bad for Jada. Next thing you know, we see Reg. He pulls up on Shad, which looks like it was at Alicia's house. So Shad, luckily he has a gun on him, and just in case. But Shad is like, listen, I don't want no problems out of you, okay? And why is Shad telling Reg all the information that's unnecessary? And what I mean by unnecessary, why are you telling this man that you work security for Alicia? Why are you telling him that y'all ain't together no more? None of that is his business. Like, it's weird that y'all just y'all are offering up all this information. Like I said, I don't understand how Reg is already thinking that it's Alicia. He never saw the shooter's face. And Shad is trying to tell him, listen, at the end of the day, I'm on my own. You got your brothers. It's just me. But Reg is like, nah, I remember you always looking out for me when I was younger or whatever. And Shad's like, yeah, but me and Trig, we should have done a better job, looking out for you. And Reg is like, no, it's okay, because, you will always be family to me. And I did appreciate Reg saying that he would always be family to Shad, because there's absolutely been times where I feel like Victor has not treated Shad the best, because Shad didn't have his life together the way Victor did at the time. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to go ahead and move on from there. The judge, she ends up going to talk to Detective Toussaint, and basically she said, bring Reg to me alive and she'll let her son go free from jail. So you already know that Toussaint is ready for that. She's totally down for it. But again, my issue is y'all ain't got not a near bit of proof that even says that Reg was at the crime scene. But y'all ready to pin a whole murder on him. Okay, fine. Moving on, Emmett he then confronts his brother Damien about the money that's missing from the safe. Y'all, this scene pissed me off, because Damien, he does admit to what he did, but then we also learned that his mama kicked him out because he's back gambling. And I'm just like, well, sir, where are you sleeping? Are you sleeping at Smokey's? What's going on here? But Emmett ends up firing Damien, right? However, Damien's like, no, I need this job. I'm going to go back to my meetings. I'm going to be doing this, that, and other. And I'm just like, first of all, sir, we need to treat you like a child. Take his devices away, okay? He don't need no phones, no nothing. But then, this is the part that got me. When Damien's like, well, Keith is the one who gave me the idea to take the money Emmett storms over there to Keith. Storms over there. And Keith is like, yeah, I told you to borrow the money, but I thought you would, put it back whenever you had it, like as soon as possible. Y'all, why did Emmett then say, Keith, you're fired? I'm sorry. You're firing him because he told your brother some bad advice, not the person who stole it? That don't even make no sense. I said, oh, baby, if I was Keith, my beef would be back on with Damien because it's not even making no sense. Emmett, that was dumb. That was super, super dumb. Damien should have got fired, not Keith. Like, I get it, that's your family, but come on now. But also at the same time, what's kind of frustrating me is that Darnell already knew that his son had a gambling problem, and he decided to teach him how to play spades. Now, I know most people, they probably don't even gamble when it comes to playing spades or whatever, but you already knew that your son had a gambling problem. That would have been off limits. I'm not teaching you how to play not a one-card game or nothing. It's just, I'm trying with this show, but I just feel like there are certain things where I'm just like, why aren't y'all making better decisions? Okay? So, next thing you know, we go over to Shad, and he tells Alicia that he talked to Reg last night. And, he knew him before, and it wasn't a big deal for him. He's like, I thought he was dead, but he not. And she's like, you're friends with him? And he's like, yeah, because I'm friends with his brother. Alicia, you know that he's friends with Victor, and at this point you know that Victor and Reg is brothers. Why wouldn't he know this man when we all know that Shad and Victor grew up together? Girl, make that make sense. So now she's like, Reg needs to be behind bars, and he's like, says who? Because again, at this point, Reg ain't done nothing, okay? And she's like, says me. Oh, baby, she thinks she got right about now. And he's sick of her. He's sick of all of this. And he ends up leaving. I said, well, you may just be on her list of people to come after. Because at this point, Alicia is spiraling. Like, this ain't even grief no more. Like, this is like, she's on like a power trip. It's crazy. We then see Nuck and Tiffany, y'all. And y'all, I'm so sick of her. I'm so sick of Tiffany. First of all, what's crazy to me is that Tiffany always wears these outfits where you can see her huge bump. Like, her bump is huge at this point, right? And I'm just like, why are you always having your, shirts halfway unbuttoned? We don't ever see that with Keisha. We only see that with Tiffany. But besides that, she ends up asking Nuck if he plans to always be in the streets. And he basically said that's the only life he knows, right? And she's like, you can change. And he's like, that don't seem like that's a thing for him. So then she gonna say, anything is possible. Girl, get away from this man. Please. He's not your man. I don't understand what's happening right now. So then we see Nuck. He go talk to Pastor Zeke, and now he want to tell Tiff that he killed Rob. But he knows that if he does this, that she's going to want to kill him. So Nuck ends up asking the pastor to take the heat off of himself in the moment. Is he going to go public with his white girlfriend? Y'all, I just want this friendship to be over. Because I'm sorry, Nuck and the pastor, it makes absolutely no sense. And then these two decide that they're going to say a prayer together. I was just like, what is happening? I just don't know what the writers are thinking when it comes to the storyline. Okay? So moving on from that, Jamal has woken up, and then we see that Dom and Lene, they're actually in the hospital, right? And Alicia comes in. Now, she's offered to pay all of Jamal's hospital bills. I mean, that's the least she could do, considering she almost killed the man when he didn't deserve to die. Now, I don't know if she knows his backstory, because we all know that Jamal has killed somebody. So maybe she may feel like, he could have died. I don't know. But when it comes to taking the money, Lene, she don't want it. Lene does not want to take this money from Alicia because she already knows that that's probably going to come with a big price, a hefty price. And nobody wants to have to owe Alicia anything. But according to Dom, she's like, listen, we don't have the money to pay these hospital bills, so we just need to go ahead and take the money and be grateful. I'm like, okay, sure. I feel like Alicia may actually let them slide and not owe her anything because of the situation. Another thing I want to point out is that Lene, if she don't do nothing, she gonna make that stank face. Every single time. Like, it's always given that Lene got an attitude. God. Moving on from there. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all that Pastor Zeke, he did confront Sarah about posting that photo. And it's very clear that he still wants to keep her a secret because he wants to keep the money flowing into the church. Besides that, let's get to the saddest part of the episode. And that was with Darnell. He's at home with Jada. And unfortunately, she has to tell him that the cancer came back. And he's, trying to be as supportive as he can. He's like, we can fight this and all the things. But she's come to terms with the fact that she may not be here for much longer. And of course, we do see Darnell. He breaks down in Jada's arms. And I just feel so bad for him. Y'all, I'm just so concerned with how Emmett is going to react. Because y'all know, like, his mom has been his rock the whole time. Even though I feel like for the past couple of seasons, we haven't really seen much interaction between Jada and Emmett. It's always been him and Darnell. And I get it, that's his dad. But yeah, we shall see. That was my review of this episode, y'all. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all on my next review. Bye, guys.